Hi everyone, I was able to build this Firebase Todo App, and the nice feature about this app is that it has connection to the Firebase storage, and it also has connection to the local storage. So you toggle between the local storage or the Firebase storage, and also it has dark mode feature applied. So if I click that, you can see it's dark mode. If I bring it back, and it's back to the bright mode. So let me just confirm that this app is working. So as you can see, by default it's connected to the Firebase remote host. That's the remote database, or you can say the remote storage. So that's what I have here, and that's Cloud Firestore. And we can see the four items we have here, the four documents, and you can see this one says learn Python, and learn C#, and learn MongoDB, and learn Java. So let me come back here, and you can see all that. So if I highlight the learn Python, we will come to see that here it says completed is true, but if I remove that, it says completed is false. So it's updating. If I delete that, we come back and we can see it's deleted. We just have 3 documents, and let me delete that MongoDB, and now we have 2, which is the learn C# and the Java. So let me add something to this. I'll just say learn SQL and add that, and when I come to Firebase, I can see learn SQL is here. It's still false. So if I've completed that, come back, and now we can see true. And if I go back to delete that and come here, is deleted. So our Firebase app is working, is connected to the Firebase cloud storage. So let me also toggle back to the local storage, and as you can see, we have no item here. So let me add something. I'll say call Ben, for example. Add that. You can see call Ben, and let me just open the inspect the page and go to application, and now we can see over here. Let me just expand this a little, and we can see down here that we have one item, ID of one completed false, and the task says call Ben. So if I click that, we can see now the completed is true. If I delete, is vacant, is empty now, is null. So let me add some more. I'll just say call Sarah, for example, and that's added. I'll learn Python, and one more, clean the room. And we can see the 3 of them added here. So if I highlight Python, it says completed true. If I delete it, it's out. And if I highlight Sarah, the same thing, completed true. Delete that, is out. And if I delete it, is out. So the local storage is also working as it's meant to be. So let me just add something to that, call Amos, something like that. Yeah, so you can see that we have 1 to-dos here. If I toggle back to our Firebase, we can see the 2 documents or items we initially had. So that's the cool thing about this app, is that you can decide which host or which storage you want to use, whether you want to use that of the remote storage or you want to use that of the local storage. And you can also see the dark mode feature applied here. ChatGPT, I just asked ChatGPT some questions to help me figure out some things, and here I said, here is an example of toggle button. Okay, sorry, I said generate a React toggle button for dark mode, and it just gave me an example, and see the implementation here, which is actually what I used, as we'll see in a moment. And we can see it's also talked about using the use state hook to keep track of the current mode, and then we toggle with an event handler to switch between the two modes. And here I said I also asked, I said, where can I get a free SVG dark mode toggle button? Because I was looking at something like this, like where could I get that? And it gave me 4 websites I could go to, and I was able to get nice toggle buttons. However, I eventually decided to get the other parts of the that's these ones here from React icons. So the toggle button, that's these buttons, I was able to get, I think that was from icons 8, I got that one, and I was able to figure out how to use this use state to define when it's on and when it's off to toggle that. So I'll just also ask, like as above, use CSS to create a toggle button to style it to look modern and sleek, and that was in the case when I didn't want to use this. So I just got all this, although I didn't implement all this, I decided to use from what it suggested here. So that's basically it, and let me just go down to the code, but before I do that, I want to show that it's hosted in Vercel, and we can also see the GitHub repo here. So that's the Vercel URL, which I will leave in the link below. So let's see the code. So basically, I used use context API from React. So that's how I was able to generate the app context.js file, and under the context folder, and basically that's where I was able to implement most of all I was able to do. And we can see use state effect and the create context was imported. Then these are the Firebase dependencies. These are the query functions that helps to update, to get, to delete, and do other things, yeah, and fetch. So we have import Firebase configuration. So I was able to set the configuration in the config folder in the Firebase.js file, and I was able to save all these keys in my .env file. And this is how to initialize the Firebase app, and also to get the that's initialize Cloud Firestore and get reference to the Firestore service. So that's what I was able to do there. Then I was able to create some Firebase CRUD hooks. So instead of leaving them on this app context component, I was able to define them individually into different hooks. So we can see create to do action, read to do action, and we also have that for local. So that's under the hooks folder, and we can see all that here. And if we look at create to do, we can see that here. So I also use TailwindCSS for styling, and these are the various options I had to implement, and within the different components I had to apply all this. Then we created the app context API itself, and that was what I was able to end up exporting here to be used. And the provider, which is what you can see here, I was able to also create that. And basically provider is like the parent of all the components, so it's going to encapsulate them and apply all these states. And that's why we have children, which are the components, represent the component, and these are some of the states we were able to create. That for dark mode, that for is local, and to dos, and impute set input value. So basically the dark mode state defines this when we toggle between this one, when we toggle between the dark, and this is on and this is off. So as we can see, by default is false, and that's why we have it not in dark mode. And here we have local is false, is local. So is local basically is this one, and we can see when we have this is local is true because it's taken from the local host or the local storage, and when we do this is global, so is local is false. So we can see that is local here is false, and that is why here is always set to global by default. And then we have the to-do state. So to-do state basically is what will be passed in after after this button has been clicked. That's to send the information to the state. And input value is the what also will be typed in. So as we type in here, like learn PHP, for example, is storing that in the input value, and by the moment, and when we click on this button, it now stores it in the to-do state. So we also have the different functions for creating to do. So we can see it's saying if is local is on, then we need to use the create to do local action. If not, you use create to do action. So that's just simply what it's doing. So that's it. We have the functions. That's the create the to do in Firebase, and we have the read to do, which is almost the same thing, but this one uses use effects. So it also decides whether it's local, then it's going to implement this hook, or else it will do this one. So the dependency is also is local. So we have update to do, which is the same thing, and delete the same. Then these are all the states that is holding in the context API, so we can see the value, and basically that it. So to explore the app, first place to go is app.js, and we can see we have a component called home, and the app provider encapsulates all the components within the home component. So we go to home, and here in home, basically we can see that it's taking the context API and it's taking the states, that's the style and dark mode, and we can see that we have the home component here, which is what we have here, and it returns this React fragment that contains we have the first one, which is the div, and that div is actually more like the one that decides the background. So we can see bg dark and bg itself. So if you come here, we can see that when bg is selected, we can see the colors, and when bg dark is black, and that's what we have here. We can see the colors, and once we do that, it's black. And also all these other colors are decided from the same point here, where we have container dark, and if we come here, we can see container dark. So that's also styled, and we have heading dark, button dark, and all that. So that's all decided there. So within that, we have the header component, the nav, the add to do, the list to do, and the footer. So the header component basically is what we can see here, which is this portion of the app, this section. And then we have nav component, which is what we have here, all these controls here. And then we have add to do. Add to do is this input elements here and component here. And then we have list to do, which is what we have here, this portion here. And then we have footer, which basically is this one here. So let me just quickly go into header, so we can see header is basically using context API to get the style and dark mode, and that's how it is determined there. The nav the same thing, but nav contains two molecules. We have select storage and select mode. Yeah, so I was able to use the atomic design principle to design my React app, and we can see molecules here. We have select mode and storage, and we also have atoms, which includes the button and these toggle elements which we have here. Some of these ones here. So what that means is that from these atoms we are able to create the molecules, and this molecule now helps to create this nav component and some other components we have there. So like we have this select storage and select mode. So if you go into select storage, we can see that it's using the button, and that's this button atom, and we can see all that is defined. So let's just go into the button, and basically you can see it's using prop types to design prop types to decide the type that is fed into these as props, the button as props. And basically this is the implementation for that. And we also have that for toggle cloud and toggle local, toggle moon, and toggle sun. So all those things are basically what you can see here. All these ones here, this is the button, and these are all the different atoms. And then after that we have list to do, which lists all the to-dos, and within that we have a smaller component called to do, which has its independent styling, and we can see it's getting from the context API, and it's feeding that, and that is styled based on the state. That's based on this state. As we can see, dark mode, when the is completed and there is dark mode, it now gives this style, text complete dark mode, and we can see the other implementations there. So that's just basically this, and we can see that and see that too. So that's basically the React app, and that's the footer itself there. So the main thing is this context API, which I was able to use to encapsulate the entire app, and that was also what I was able to build the other components we have. So these are some of the hooks that were also implemented. We can see to read action from the Firebase, we use the Firebase query tools and functions, and we can see them here being implemented. And this for the local, and to update we can see that, and to delete you can see that, and to create you can see this. This for the local one, and this is the create for the Firebase. So it's quite interesting. It's quite an interesting app, and I think one of the features I have not yet applied to the Firebase app is the authentication and authorization using JWT token or using the Firebase auth function. So I've not done that because basically just wanted to build the app first and see that it's working both for the local and the Firebase remote storage. So let me know what you think. If you want me to still implement the auth or any other suggestion, just write down in the comments and let me know. So thank you for viewing, and you can check that out, and that's the URL to view the app. All right, bye.